Arsenal are going to finish outside the top four. Obviously, they're going to be your winner of the UEFA Europa League. The firing of Unai Emery, the three-time UEFA Europa winner with Sevilla, in the appointment of former Wenger era player Freddie Ljungberg, who played with Arsenal from 1998, or yes, it's 1998 to 2007. I want you to notice something else first. So, according to this, he scored a total of 46 goals with Arsenal and 62 goals in his career. Now, I think they're going off of the league total, the amount of goals that he scored in the league. He's a Wenger prodigy, playing regularly from 1999 to just about 2006. Excluding the 2 goals that he scored with West Ham, he scored a total of 72 goals. It was always the Arsene Wenger player that was supposed to be the guy that was going to win this Europa title for Arsenal, because that is the financial objective for the owners. And as Tottenham become title contenders in the next couple of years, then that's when finally Arsenal are going to be forced to have to spend money. He scored a total of 46 league goals with Arsenal. This is going to be the addition of the Europa League final coming up in 2020 for the Gunners to continue to advance to beat the top competition. It is the sacked Emery that is not going to be involved in this Europa League final over at the Stadion Energy Gdansk in Gdansk, Poland. I can't pronounce that. Let's see what Google pronounces this. So let's see the pronunciation of the Polish city of Gdansk. Excuse me. The city of Gdansk.
Gdańsk, 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 Gdańsk.
Gdansk. Okay. I guess that's how this dude pronounced it. Anyway, so Europa League, like I've said before, the 2020 UEFA Super Cup is going to be over at Porto, Portugal, the home country of Ronaldo. It's going to be Ronaldo and Juventus up against Arsenal. Massimiliano Allegri going to be managing against Juventus in that game? Who knows? But the main tribute is that Wojciech Szczesny, former goalkeeper of Arsenal, is Polish himself. It is he that is the starting goalkeeper of Juventus, the heir of Gianluigi Buffon. And this is why Arsenal are going to be winning a Europa League final over at the country of Poland. It has everything to do with the heir of Gianluigi Buffon, the former Arsenal goalkeeper. That is a secret tribute. The sacking of Unai Emery. It is Coach Emery that equals 96. It is Freddie Ljungberg that is replacing him. Ljungberg equals 42 in Gematria. It is Freddie that equals 42. Freddie Ljungberg's birthday is on April the 16th of the year 77. The amount of time from his birthday to the day of the Europa League final, May the 27th, is a time span of 42 days. This is the significance of Ljungberg and Freddie. It has everything to do with the time duration from his birthday to the Europa final. These elites are obsessed with occultic numerology. 6 league titles, 6 FA Cups, 6 Community Shield, 6 English Football League Cup, 6 for Manchester City, and this is how I knew Liverpool would win the title this year. Coach Freddie Ljungberg, the mark of the beast, 177. It is the sacked Emery that is going to miss out over at the final over at Gdansk, Poland. These same Gematrias. Arsenal, the club, their language is English. They're an English club. So Europa final is 118. It's Gdansk, Poland, that equals under 18. This is why we're going to see an English team in that final. Arsenal's last UEFA trophy, 1994, a UEFA inter-competition final, which I think featured Arsenal. Arsenal's last European trophy occurred in the 1994 final against Parma. Gianluigi Buffon's first club is Parma. This has everything to do with Wojciech Szczesny being the heir of Gianluigi Buffon. This was Arsenal's last Europa League. This was Arsenal's last European trophy, 1994. 26 years later, Arsenal are going to win their next European trophy. Arsene Wenger failed to win the European trophy with Arsenal. It all ended for Arsene Wenger, keep in mind, against Atletico. And I want you to note, too, that it is Atletico Madrid that equals 62. It's Poland that equals 62. It's Arsene that equals 62 and 26. This Europa League final is going to be a tribute to what Arsene couldn't do, which is win in Europe. This is why after 25 prior seasons of not winning a European trophy for the Arsenal, that Arsenal are going to win the final over at Poland, the Europa League final. The city itself, Gdansk, equals 42. 42 days from Freddie Ljungberg's birthday is going to be the date of the Europa final. Gdansk, Poland equals 41 when you don't include the end day. This is just 41 days from Freddie's birthday to the day of the Europa final. The amount of time from the sacking of Unai Emery, November the 29th, is a 40 day. 79 date numerology. Keep in mind that it's Arsenal that has gematria of 79. Arsenal FC, that is. Arsenal FC, it's Ronaldo. That equals 79. This is why I had Juventus penciled in to beat the Europa champion Arsenal in the next UEFA Super Cup. Now, another thing to keep a note of. May the 27th of 2020 is a date numerology of 72. Once again, it is Wenger that equals 72. The former Wenger player is going to win the Europa trophy, Freddie Ljungberg. The Swede, as a matter of fact, the last time an English team won the Europa League final, came over at Sweden, Solna, Sweden. Ibrahimovic did not play. He was a Swedish player on Manchester United, but this was the last time an English team won the final, and it was over at Sweden. So I can see the English connection with the Swedish connection with Freddie Ljungberg winning the Europa League. And I want you to note something else. The amount of time from Arsene Wenger's birthday to the Europa final is 7 months and 6 days when you include the end day in 31 weeks. Perfect match. Tribute to Arsene Wenger. Europa is 76 and 31 in gematria. This is a tribute to what Wenger could not do. We see 72 date numerology of the Europa final. Once again, this has everything to do with Freddie Ljungberg's 72 goals with Arsenal, because you have to take away the 2 goals that he scored with West Ham. And then the total goals in his career, 89 total goals for Freddie Ljungberg. It is the city of Gdansk, Poland. You don't include the 5 and N when you have the accent. That gematria computation is 89. His 89 career goals and what the script of the Europa is all about. 26 weeks later, after the sacking of Unai Emery, it is Arsenal that are going to win the final over at Poland. This is a time span from the sacking, that is, the amount of time from the sacking to the Europa final, the amount of time from the sacking, once I compute this, You see, this is 25 weeks and 6 days. This is the 26th week. And ultimately, 25 full years without winning the Europa. Unai Emery, 26 gematria. Unai Emery's initials in Poland equaling 26. And what the sacking is all about. Emery's sacking reveals that Arsenal's Europa qualification for the next round was in jeopardy for this 2019-20 season. That's exactly what happened with the whole Unai Emery saga. And this is what Freddie Ljungberg is supposed to do. Arsene Wenger ended a 22-year coaching run with Arsenal, and notice that Arsenal and Norwich, they tied 2-2. Wenger was replaced by Emery after 22 years. The first game after Emery, Arsenal draw against Norwich City 2-2. Another tribute to the Arsene Wenger and what the former player of Wenger's going to do. That is the general point that we are going to make. Norwich is 45. Unai is sacked. And then he is replaced with the Swede against Norwich City. Norwich City equals 147. This is the run to the Europa final. To the UEFA Europa final. I had the reference in my calculator, everybody. Let me just type it in quickly. So there it is. Freddie Ljungberg equals 147. He becomes the Arsenal manager against Norwich City. Here it is. Norwich City is 66. And then remember that it is Emery that has gematria of 66. This is why he got replaced right before Norwich City. Now, interesting. 2-2 for the Arsenal. The first win for Freddie Ljungberg should occur against Brighton. And this would give Arsenal their 22nd points of the season. The gematria of Brighton. Brighton has gematria of 93 and 48. Brighton FC. Brighton Football Club. And that would require a further decode of this occurrence. Lastly, connecting the birthday, November the 29th, the day that Unai Emery was sacked, to the prior birthday of Freddie Ljungberg. What is that time duration? 32 weeks. May the 27th, Europa final, 32. Unai Emery was hired to win the Europa League on a date numerology of 18, but he failed to get the job done. But they code this stuff by the numbers completely to get to give you the potentially the hint that he's going to be the guy that's going to win the Europa. But you look at Arsene Wenger, you look at his most famous accomplishment, the Invincibles, the 49 straight wins. This is the 49th edition of the Europa. Arsene Wenger failed to win in Europe. This is what Freddie Ljungberg is going to do for the Gunners on May 27th. Unai Emery fails to get the job done with the Arsenal. And Eintracht Frankfurt. His last game. Eintracht 36. Wenger. Return to Arsene Wenger football. Eintracht Frankfurt has gematria of 79, and the coach gets fired. It's Frankfurt that equals 43. Unai Emery remains at 43 wins with the Arsenal. 26 years later, everybody, I think the script has been decoded. 43 wins, and there you have it. Eintracht, Unai Emery fails to get the job done. 35 games he failed to win with the Gunners. And there you have it. The Gunners is 50 in the 50th edition of the Europa. Arsenal have to defend the title. Gianluigi Buffon connection with Wojciech Szczesny being Polish, being the heir of Buffon. That is the main connection there. Arsene Wenger being connected with German football. Eintracht, German club. Former Wenger player replaces Unai Emery over at Arsenal. And this is what we have here. Salvaging Arsenal's season 10th place and no automatic qualification to the Europa League. The sacking of Unai Emery and the former player of Arsene Wenger, Freddie Ljungberg, to lead the Gunners to Europa League glory. And which trophy would this be for Freddie Ljungberg? And you look at Emery again. F is the 6th letter. Ljungberg is the 12th letter. Freddie Ljungberg is 18. Remember, 5272020 is a date numerology of 18. So there you have it. His first name has to be important. Carl. Carl equals 42. It's Gdansk. When you include the accent in the end, this is just 42 and 15. So good to know that you cannot include those letters with accents in gematria. Carl Freddie Ljungberg, in his birthday numerology, can be noted. The 16th day of April of the year 1977. Sixteenth day of April of 1977. Birthday numerology 35. The Gunners is 35, and now the 16th day of April of 1977. Date numerology of 116. The rivalry with Tottenham in the Premier League. If this guy is going to be the true successor of Arsene Wenger. Wenger's hair. Arsene Wenger's hair is 94. What else did I have that equaled 94 in the gematria calculator? I had another decode with the 94 before. I'd have to revisit that. I'll just leave a comment on that general point. 1977, 9177's 24. Juventus and the 24-year Champions League title drought. If this guy is the manager, this guy would be in the UEFA Super Cup. So look out for that. And then initials of the full name is important as well. Carl Frederick Ljungberg, winning the 11th edition of the Europa League ever since it was renamed to the Europa League. K is the 11th letter. Carl Freddie Ljungberg. I believe we found a match here. That Parma was who Arsenal last beat for their last European trophy. This is the 49th edition of the final. This is a tribute to the Invincibles, and this was Buffon's first team. Arsenal drew 2-2 in Freddie Ljungberg's first point. His first win in the Premier League. It gives him 22 points in the table. All of these points have been completely decoded in this video. Arsenal ending a 26-year European trophy drought. 26 years later, this has been completely decoded. I am linking the other works of across world football at the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of gematria and numerology a lot, as well as the next winner of the Europa League, Arsenal's twin cousins.